Made free, all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited, 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Sun and Main Road, Canupia.
Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to C Results on IBN TV, as well as the IBN TV Facebook page and the C Results Facebook page. I am Sir Ijaz, and today is Thursday, so we're going to be doing some mathematics in the first hour, which will be followed by English Language Arts and some creative writing by Ms. Naila Shah. All right, we have some ELA activities for us to do, as well as readings to be done from the essays that you all would have written in last week and we corrected over the weekend, okay? So the last time you all saw me, we were on the topic of measurement. Specifically, we were dealing with volume, capacity, perimeter, and area, and those the types of questions that would usually come in the second section of the SEA paper. So today, I promised that I would just revisit the last question that we did, and we are going to move on to doing some some statistical questions, and then we'll also be moving on even further into our second section, number type questions. So we have a lot of work planned. We may not be able to do all of the questions we have available to do today, but of course, we'll continue, God willing, on Monday, wherever we end up. So in this particular question, I'm just going to recap. We have a cuboid, and the volume of the cuboid is 2,700 cubic centimeters, or 2,700 cubic centimeters. And the shaded square has a perimeter of 60 centimeters. We have to calculate the length of the cuboid. All right, so the shaded portion is this part over here, and we are told that it is a square. Okay, it may not appear that way because of the perspective that we are looking at it from, but you know, we have to rely on the data in the question. And because it has a perimeter of 60, that indicates that the total distance around the square is 60 centimeters. And of course, a square is a quadrilateral, and with all the sides being equal in length, and each of the 4 degrees or the 4 angles being 90 degrees. So we have to simply divide that 60 by 4, which would give us 15 centimeters as the dimension, or the length of one side of the square. Good. And so we'll have the height of the cuboid being 15 centimeters, as well as the width of the cuboid being 15 centimeters. So we are told that the entire volume of this cuboid is 2,700 cubic centimeters. So if we were to find the area of this square, right, and then divide it into the volume of the cuboid, we would get this missing length over here, all right, because if we have the area of the face multiplied by the height is a formula that is usually given, an alternate formula to length by breadth by height, okay, but in this case, it's not the height but the length. So you can imagine if this particular cuboid were to be standing on the square face, you know, and vertically positioned upright rather than laying horizontally on the floor like this, you would have this base, this square base, multiplied by this L, which would then be the height, okay? And that would give us the volume of the cube, of the cuboid. So it's the same thing really, it's just one is horizontal and one is vertical. So you can still kind of think of it as a base, all right, even though it's just one of the faces of the cuboid. So we have to proceed now to work out the area of that square, and that gives us 225 centimeters squared. Good. That would be the area of the square face whose perimeter is 60 centimeters. Good. And then finally, we have to now take the entire volume of the cuboid, which is 2,700, and divide it by that 225. And you know, our caller had a little difficulty thinking on the spot doing this division, but that is fine. So you can divide both the top and the bottom by the number 5. That will give us 45 below, 540 on top. All right, you can see here 45 and a 54 being multiples of 9. So we can say 9 into 45 will give us 5. And 9 into 540 would give us 60, and that would leave us finally with 60 divided by 5, which is 12 centimeters. So finally, in conclusion, the length of this cuboid was 12 centimeters, was given by 12 centimeters for the reasons that we just outlined. All right, so I hope that that cleared up any misconception anybody might have had with this particular question. Okay, and now that will wrap up our work with geometry, with measurement for today. And we are moving on now onto some geometric questions that basically reflect the questions that come in the final section of the paper. All right, so basically questions 41 to 45. You're going to get one question on geometry in that final section of the paper. Okay, as you can see here, that will usually be question 44, the penultimate question of the paper, a question on geometry. So here is the first question. Now, this particular question would be sort of difficult to take a call for because it requires us drawing in some lines here. All right, so I'm going to give one caller a try, and then, you know, if it proves difficult for them to give us some direction, I'll just take this question and we'll give you an opportunity to answer the rest, okay? Now, here we have a regular hexagon, right? There's a reason that word regular is used there, and we'll come to see why just now. And it is shown below here in the diagram. And we have to draw two lines on the hexagon that connect any two pairs of points so that the following three shapes are produced. So we are going to just draw two lines in this figure, right, within the figure of this hexagon. And just by drawing those two lines, we have to end up with these three distinct shapes within that hexagon, right? The first one is a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. Actually, it doesn't really matter which is first, second, or third, because after we draw the two lines, we're going to get these three shapes regardless, right? A triangle which two of its sides are equal in length, and a triangle in which all sides are of different lengths, but it has a right angle. Okay, so maybe I can get the callers to say which letters to join via lines, and we'll see if we can get those three shapes. So good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Hello, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Javen.
Hey, welcome, Javen. So, Javen, what are your thoughts for this question today?
Okay, so you could zoom in on the question, please.
All right, so guys, can you please zoom in on the question? So you're seeing the figure there now?
Right, now it's zoom in. Okay, so if you want to find for shape 1 a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides,
Yeah.
I would draw a line from F to C.
All right, but here's what we have to do here, right, Javen?
Yes,
now I
sir.
understand what you're saying. If we drew a line from F to C, we would have a quadrilateral with one pair of parallel lines.
Oh, wait, sir. I think I'll change my mind.
All right, yeah. Remember, we have to draw two lines at once that will give us all three of these shapes at the same time. That is the goal here.
Okay, so I think the first shape, I think I'm going to draw a diagonal line from A to D.
Okay. Sure.
So you can draw the, oh, right. So I'll draw so then I will draw a line from A to E.
From A to E?
Yes, from A to E.
All right, excellent. And does that give us the three figures? Can you identify the three different shapes we have to get there?
So shape 1 is a trapezium.
Yes.
Shape 2 is an isosceles triangle.
All right, hold on. I first want to know where this trapezium is. Call the letters that give me the edges of this trapezium.
A, B, C, and D.
Right. A, B,
C, and D.
Right, we have our trapezium here.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And these are our parallel sides, okay? And what is the triangle with two sides are equal in length? You said that's called a what? What type of triangle?
Isosceles triangle.
Very good. An isosceles triangle.
So the letters the edges that make up that shape is the letters A, F, and E.
A, F, and E. Excellent. So here we have an isosceles triangle. Now, how do we know that these two sides are equal in length?
Because the distance from F to E is the same length as the distance from F to E.
Excellent. But one clue that gives that away is because they said that it's a regular hexagon, right?
Also, all sides would be equal.
Excellent. A regular hexagon, all sides are equal. Very good, Javen.
Yes, sir.
What is the last shape that we had to find in here?
The last shape is a right angle scalene triangle.
Excellent. And what are the edges for that?
A, E, and D.
A, E, and D.
D.
All right. Very good. So we see this nice right angle here. And because all the lengths of the sides are different, it's a right angle scalene triangle. Good?
Yes, sir.
Javen, that is very, very, very top quality work there. All right, thank you very much. All right, so I didn't actually envisage us being able to do this with a caller, right, so skillfully, but Javen actually nailed it. All right, so we had to draw two lines connecting any two pairs of points, right? Any two pairs of points so that the following shapes were achieved, okay? And we have here our three different shapes. We have the isosceles triangle, right, which was shape 2. We had shape 1, the quadrilateral, with one pair of parallel sides. And we had our third shape, which is a scalene right-angled triangle. So that is very good stuff, Javan. Thank you so much for your help, and I hope everyone at home gets that. Okay, of course, you could have drawn the line in a couple other places in the figure and achieved the same result. Okay, so maybe I'll just quickly do one more just to make sure that everybody gets it. We could have drawn, in the same fashion, drawn one vertical line here and a diagonal line there, and we would have gotten the same result. All right, our isosceles triangle would have been on the right side instead. We'd have the same right scaling triangle, and then we'd also have our quadrilateral. So this would be shape 1, shape 2, and shape 3. Okay, and of course, you can take your time and see if you can find any other pairs of lines that would give us that same result that we were looking for. So thank you so much, Javan. That's a nice question to get the ball rolling, okay? And of course, we have covered, if you're a bit lost when it comes to these quadrilaterals and these polygons and all of their properties, like, how we just mentioned, that the fact that it's a regular hexagon tells us that all of the sides are equal, all right? The hexagon does not have to have all equal sides, but because it's regular, that means that each of these 6 sides are going to be equal in length. Okay, so you can visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cresults, or you can just search for cresults on YouTube, and you can look at episodes 6 and 15 to get some more information about these quadrilaterals and polygons and so on. Okay, so what's next? All right, so this question takes a lot of doing. This is a very involved question. I'm going to read it at first. Remember, this is section 3. These questions are worth 4 marks each, so expect the difficulty to be, up there. So let's read. Brianna has 25 craft sticks and 14 plasticine balls. She uses some to build the frames of the solids shown below. All right, we have to name the first solid. And then the second part of the question, Brianna wants to build the frames of a triangular pyramid and cube. How many more craft sticks and plasticine balls would she need? All right, so she began with 25 and 14. She built these 2, and now she wants to build 2 other solids. So it's quite a lot of work to get done. So let's see how we can do it. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Aidan.
Hey, welcome, Aidan. So, Aidan, do you have any thoughts for us for this question?
Okay. The first solid that is for A, they're asking for the first solid in the picture?
Yes, the first solid drawn here.
A square-based pyramid.
Sorry?
A square-based pyramid.
Okay, so this is the first one and this is the second one, right? So what is the first solid?
Yeah, square-based pyramid.
No, the second solid here is a square-based pyramid. That's this figure.
A triangular prism.
Right. So the first solid is a triangular prism, right? Triangular prism. So that one is your first mark. Okay? So notice we have a triangle on opposite side of the shape, right? And we have a uniform cross section. Good?
Yeah.
So that tells us it's a triangular prism. Now, to tackle the second part, Brianna wants to build the frames of a triangular pyramid and cube. How many more craft sticks and plasticine balls would she need? So here's what.
You need to find out how many edges the triangular pyramid and the cube have, and find out how many faces and corners, and then add it up.
All right.
So a triangle, a cube have 12 edges, so you'll need 12 craft sticks.
Okay. So all right. So let me just stop you there for a second, right, Aidan?
Yeah.
Let's look at the 2 shapes that she's already built. All right. Now bear in mind that she began with 25 craft sticks, right, and 14 plasticine balls. Good? You with me so far? Aiden?
Yeah.
All right, so how many edges do we have here in the first figure, which is the triangular prism?
9.
How many edges?
9.
9 edges. Very good. All right.
Yeah.
So that's 9 craft sticks for this shape. Good?
Oh wait, I understand where you're going now.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you need to find how many craft sticks in the boat and plasticine, and how much plasticine balls in the boat, and then subtract it from 25 and 14.
Right, that's the first step. So how many plasticine balls we use in the triangular prism then?
9.
No, we use 9 craft sticks, but the plasticine balls are how many?
6.
6.
So 9 and 6 is 15.
All right, but we're not adding those because
Well, yeah.
those are 2 different things, right?
So you could add up the square base pyramid have 8 craft sticks.
8 craft sticks.
So
yes.
9 and 8 is 17. So
Okay.
you'll subtract 25 from 17.
All right, let's work out everything first, and then we'll subtract how many plasticine balls we have in the square base pyramid.
5.
5. All right?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, so now we could start looking at the craft sticks now. So we had 25 craft sticks in total, and how many craft sticks used between the both of them?
17.
Right, 9 and 8 is
17.
17, right? So 25 take away 17 is how much?
25 subtract 17. 8.
Right, so she has 8 craft sticks remaining. Good?
Yeah.
All right, and let's look at the
Plasticine
plasticine balls now. How many she used so far?
6. 11.
Right, 6 and 5 is 11. And how much she had to begin with?
14.
14, right?
So when you subtract 14 and 11, you'll get 3.
Right, 14 take away 11 is 3 plasticine balls. Good?
Yeah.
Right, so that's what she's left with right now. 8 craft sticks and 3 plasticine balls. Good?
Yeah.
So great. Now she wants to build what? She wants to build a
A
cube.
triangular pyramid and a cube.
Yes, a triangular pyramid
And a cube.
and a cube, right?
Yeah.
Right. So edges are basically our craft sticks and the vertices are the plasticine balls, right?
Yeah.
All right. No, it's a triangular pyramid.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, so let's get to work here now. So how many edges does a cube have?
12.
12 edges. Excellent. So the cube requires 12 craft sticks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many vertices does a cube have?
8.
8. So we require 8 plasticine balls for the cube,
Yeah.
right? And what about the triangular pyramid?
That will have 6 craft sticks
Right. 6 craft sticks
and 4 plasticine balls.
and 4 plasticine balls. Yes, that is correct. All right.
So, she will need 10 more craft sticks and 8 more plasticine balls.
All right. Okay, let's not
Oh, wait.
let's not confuse ourselves here. Let's work it out step by step, right?
Yeah.
So, how many craft sticks she needs in total to build the 2 figures?
18.
18, right?
Yeah.
And how many does she have remaining in craft sticks?
8.
So therefore we have to say 18.
Subtract 8
Subtract
and you'll get 10.
Right, 10 craft sticks. And how many more plasticine balls does she need?
8. 13.
Okay, we have 8 and we need 8 and 4. How much is 8 and 4?
12.
12. And how much does she have already?
3.
3. How much is 12 take away 3?
9.
9, right?
Yes.
So therefore,
She
to
needs
complete
10
our project,
craft sticks and 9 plasticine balls.
excellent. She needs 10 craft sticks and
9
9
plasticine balls.
plasticine balls. All right, Eden, that was some very diligent work there. Thank you for staying with us throughout that question. I know it was a lot, and well done to you, all right? Okay, so this one definitely is going to require a little bit of recapping for our viewers because a lot of things just took place, all right? We are dealing here with somebody that's, participating in some craft building activities, all right? They have, or she has, 25 craft sticks and 14 plasticine balls, and she uses some to build these 2 frames that we see. Okay, so first of all, this first figure here is a triangular prism, okay, and that has a total of 9 edges, or otherwise we can refer to those as 9 craft sticks and 6 plasticine balls. As you can see over here, you can actually visualize those quite easily in the diagram as well. All right, and for the triangular prism, there are 8 craft sticks, good, and 5, not the triangular, sorry, the square-based prism. We have 8 craft sticks and 5 plasticine balls, and we laid all of that out over here very nicely, right? And she began with 25 and 14, so we want to figure out now how many more craft sticks and plasticine balls she has remaining. So we add the craft sticks that were used to build the triangular prism as well as the square-based pyramid, 9 plus 8, which gave us a total of 17. Good, so we subtracted that 17 from the total craft sticks that she began with, which were 25, and we got 8. Good. Then we looked at how many plasticine balls she used between the 2 figures, 6 and 5, which gives us 11, and she started with 14. So we subtract 11 from the 14, and we got 3 plasticine balls. So she remains with 8 craft sticks and 3 plasticine balls, and she wants to construct now a cube, well, a triangular pyramid and a cube. Good. So we have to basically know the edges and vertices of these solids, the number of edges, the number of vertices of these solids. Good. So we know that there are 12 edges in a cube and 8 vertices. So we need 12 craft sticks and 8 plasticine balls. And in the triangular pyramid, there are 6 edges and 4 vertices. So we need 6 craft sticks to build that and 4 plasticine balls. So we sum the number of required craft sticks and plasticine balls, and we're going to get 12 plus 6, which gives us 18. And we subtract what we already have, which we worked out previously. So that leaves us requiring 10 more craft sticks. And we sum again the required plasticine balls required to build the 2 remaining solids, 8 and 4, is 12, and she already had 3 remaining from the previous project, if you will. So we subtract the 3 that she has from the 12 that she needs, and that gives us 9. So therefore, we were able to say the number of craft sticks and the number of plasticine balls required to finish build the 2 remaining solids. So that is a lot of working, guys, and a lot of opportunities to slip up here in this question. All right, because you really need to know the properties of the solids that we already have. Of course, we have the diagrams here that could kind of help us count the craft sticks and the plasticine balls for the ones that already exist. But then we have to know the edges and vertices of the triangular pyramid and the cube. And there were some very nice, neat formulas that I gave you all several weeks back on being able to calculate the edges, vertices, and faces of all of these solids, all of these common solids, without the need for seeing a diagram or drawing a diagram. All right, so if you want to know all about that, I would direct you to our 25th episode, all right, season 1, episode 25. Look for that on YouTube, Properties of Solids. You're going to get a lot of information there. And then we also have some more information on pyramids on the 27th episode. So if you need some context, you need some additional information to process everything that just took place in that question there, please go to the YouTube channel and have a look at these 2 videos, and you will be up to speed on those questions, all right? So let's take another question before we head off to our break. All right, we have to match here 2 solids in column A to its corresponding cross sections in column B by drawing a line. A very nice and easy question here. So let's take a call. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Devontae.
Hey, Devontae, welcome. So
Welcome.
can you match the shapes, the solids on column A with the cross sections on column B?
Okay.
So first of all, can you name the 4 solids here for me?
Square base pyramid,
Square base pyramid, good.
a cuboid,
A cuboid,
a cylinder, and a cone.
a cylinder, and a cone. Very good. So now we have to match those, 2 of those, to the cross sections that we see in column B.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, give me your thoughts.
So, the column A
Yeah.
will be the square base pyramid
Uh-huh.
to the squares.
To the squares. Right, very
Yeah.
good. Now notice the squares go from small to big, right? So that will happen if we cut it across up here at near the apex of the pyramid. We're going to get a small square if we look at it. And as we cut going down, it's going to get bigger in size, right?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So that's right. And what about...
And the cone to the circle.
Very good. And the cone to the circle. And once again, as we go down, we're going to get from smaller circles to larger circles when we look at it from above, right?
Yeah.
All right, Devontae. Very good. Thank you so much for your call. All right, so that question, again, was pretty straightforward. And you will, of course, we dealt with all of these solids and their properties and cross-sections and so on in these videos. So do head over to those videos on our YouTube channel at your leisure. Remember, we are at home. We have lots of time to study. So please utilize the resources that are available. So here we have another question, or another part to that question that tests our knowledge of the properties of solids. We have to name 2 solids which together have the same number of faces as a triangular prism. Good, so I'll take a call. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, and who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Hi, good day. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Anna.
Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Anna.
Zara. All right. Okay, we seem to have lost that call. So remember, guys, when you call, once you get through to us, you need to mute the television and listen on the phone, all right? You can always replay the video on Facebook and YouTube after, and you can hear, how you did on the program. So don't worry about that. Let's try another call. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi,
Hi, and who am I speaking with?
this is Aiden again.
Hey, welcome back, Aidan. So, Aidan, we have some more solid work going on here. We have to name 2 solids which together have the same number of faces as a triangular prism.
I'm a cone and a cylinder.
All right, how many faces does a triangular prism have to begin with?
5.
5 faces, very good. And you're saying that it's a cone,
And a cylinder.
a cone and a cylinder. How many faces does a cone have?
2.
2 faces, right?
Yes.
The kind of triangular looking one.
And
And
the
the circle,
surface.
right? All right. And the cylinder, how many faces does that have?
3.
3 faces.
Yes.
What are those faces?
The curved face and the 2 circular faces.
All right, so it's a rectangular kind of face and
The 2 circular
2
faces.
circular faces, right?
Yes.
And that gives us
5.
3. So
3
2
plus
plus
2 is
3
5.
is 5. Excellent. So a cone and a cylinder. Just by the way, is there any other combination of solids that will give us these 5 faces?
A sphere.
A sphere, which has how many faces?
1.
Right, and what?
A triangular base pyramid.
Excellent. So we can go with a sphere that has 1 face and a triangular base pyramid which has 4 faces, right?
Yes.
All right, excellent work, Aidan. Thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, so that is basically the answers for this part of the question. We can either go with the cone and the cylinder or the sphere and the triangular based pyramid. All right, and again, you can refer to our videos that we did previously to get the properties for all of these solids. So I'm going to take a short break now for about 2 minutes, and we'll be back with more questions. So don't go anywhere. I'll see you after the break.
Chiclesia Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Chiclesia Limited, 665-3336.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high-quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Sun and Main Road, Cunupia.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta. Enjoy the real Fruta. Refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta.
Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to C Results on IBN TV and the IBN TV Facebook page, as well as the C Results Facebook page. And of course, some of you might be viewing this later on our YouTube channel. So we are doing some questions on geometry right now. Questions that may come, questions of the type or the sort that come in the last section of the SCA paper. So as you've noticed so far, some of these questions can be quite challenging. But of course, once we have the required preparation and we know, the knowledge that we are supposed to have, it can be, very doable. So here we have to use this 1 centimeter grid below to join the dots that would complete a cuboid of width 2 centimeters. All right, so these dots are actually not labeled, they don't have letters, so we won't be able to do what Javan, did so well with our hexagon and dividing it up into the 3 shapes in our first or second question, was it? And so I'll just show you here what you have to do, all right? So basically, you need to look at these dots. It's a game of connect the dots. I don't know if young people still play that, but it was, a very popular game in the past. And you basically have to be able to discern here where we're going to find this cuboid. Now, a 1 centimeter grid means that all of these squares are 1 centimeter all around, right? Each side, that is to say, is 1 centimeter long. Good? So we know that the width of the pyramid, sorry, not the pyramid, the cuboid is 2 centimeters. So we can imagine it's going to be 2 centimeters across in width, meaning 2 squares, right? And you basically have to look for the opposite side to this. And we basically just connect the dots in order to complete this cuboid. Good, so it will take a little bit of searching within the dots, thinking about different configurations that will perhaps lead to us having a cuboid with 2 centimeters in width. And this is the finished product here. As you can see, it's 2 units wide, and each of those is 1 centimeter. So therefore, we have the required width of 2 centimeters. And we have the cuboid here. The proper shape is drawn. And we now have to give the height of the cuboid. Good. And that should not be so difficult to tell. We just have to count the number of squares up. Right, so we notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of the edges on this grid of the squares on this grid is 1 centimeter. As we said, it's a 1 centimeter grid. Therefore, the height of the cuboid is going to be 4 centimeters. All right, so I do apologize that we couldn't have done this one more interactively. Maybe we could have tried, but we don't have labels for the points to say, we're going to connect this one to that one. So I hope that didn't spoil the fun for you. But of course, for our viewers who might be watching later, they would be able to pause the video at the outset of this question and try to connect those dots. But this is basically the solution for this particular question here. It's not too bad. And here is our final question in geometry for today. All right, before we head on back to some questions on the strand of number, and we're going to be looking at some consumer arithmetic questions in particular from the second section of the paper. But before we move on, we have to answer this question first. And here we are told that 2 regular hexagons are joined along the side AB as shown below. Name the quadrilateral shaded above and explain how you arrived at your answer. So I'm going to take a caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN
Hello?
TV. Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Aidan.
Hey, welcome back, Aidan. Aidan, you know what? I want to give another caller a try for this question, right?
Okay.
All right, Aidan. Thanks for calling. And do call back again in Miss Nyla's program, or even later on in mine. Let's see if we have another caller there on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Right.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, sir?
Hey, welcome back. Is this Javan?
Yes, sir.
All right, welcome back, Javan. So, Javan, you're joining me after a long spell now, since the last question you answered. What are your thoughts for this particular question here?
So they said a quadrilateral. I think the quadrilateral is a rhombus.
All right, a rhombus. And why do you think it's a rhombus?
Because the line A of B looks like a line of symmetry,
Excellent.
and a rhombus has two lines of symmetry,
Very good.
and some people may say a parallelogram.
All right.
Because,
Go ahead.
right, yes, but a parallelogram has no lines of symmetry.
Marvelous, Raven. That is very correct. I was getting a little worried there when you told me that it might be a parallelogram too, eh? So, right, yes, a rhombus is a special case of a parallelogram, but it is a very specific one, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
what gives it those two lines of symmetry is the fact that all of the sides are equal in length and the opposite sides are parallel to each other. Good?
Yes, sir.
Right, so that is very good logic and thinking, so well done. The
Yes, sir.
quadrilateral is in fact a rhombus. And it's not just a regular old parallelogram, right? So remember, parallelogram, there are so many different types of parallelograms. This is a specific one that we call the rhombus, and he was able to identify the line joining A and B to be a line of symmetry, and then you can see there's also a second line of symmetry there, and these regular hexagons are broken up into equilateral triangles, 6 equilateral triangles. So therefore, these like half diagonal lines here are all going to be equal in length. So we know that all of the sides are indeed equal to each other in length, and that's how we are sure that this is a rhombus. All right, so that's very well done. That's in fact the answer to this question. All right, so that brings us to the end of our little foray into geometry there today. Good. So we've looked at a few things in the program so far. We wrapped up some questions on measurement, all right, specifically from the second section of the SCA paper, right? Those types of questions are continuation from our last class, which was on Tuesday. And we've just looked at some questions in geometry, questions that would come in the last section of the paper. All right, so some of them are very involved, some of them not so much, but you know, it can come either way sometimes. Sometimes you get, you know, some very easy questions, even though it's meant to be the more difficult ones. Sometimes it's a bit more challenging, but in general, it would be more challenging than the previous sections of the paper. And now, we're going to look at some questions from the last section of the paper on statistics. Good. Now, these are actually questions. I have not done them on the program before. All right. We have looked at the final section of the paper in terms of statistics already. And these 3 questions were given on one of the quizzes. I think it was last week or the week before. All right. And these were 3 questions that actually give students a lot of problems, all right? So some students knocked it out of the park very easily, but you know, when we do our quizzes on Edmodo, we get statistics for the entire class, and it's basically called an item analysis, and we can see which questions students did well on, which ones they did poorly on. So I'm just going to visit these 3 questions to make sure that those who didn't get them out will have a better understanding now. Of course, Edmodo will give you the correct answer when you review your test results, but it's not going to give you an explanation. It's just going to give you the answer, right? So let's take some time now to clarify any misconceptions here that students might have. So here's one of them. Maya has 285 stickers, Renee has 350 stickers, and Zara has 175 stickers. How many stickers must Renee and Maya give to Zara so that the 3 girls will have the same number of stickers? Good. So this is actually an arithmetic mean question here disguised, you know, looking like just a general arithmetic type question, but there's a reason why it's in the statistical section of the paper, right? So let's see if a caller can give us any help with this. So good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, good afternoon, caller. Caller, good day.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And who am I speaking with?
Devontae.
Hey, welcome back, Devontae. So, Devontae, you're up for the second time today, and we have a question here. Did you do this question in the quiz that we gave?
Probably.
All right, so I don't remember who got it right and who didn't, so let's see what your thoughts are for this question here.
So firstly, I would find the total,
All right,
which would be 810,
okay.
and then divided by 3, so you'll find how much each person will get.
All right, so hold up. You said that when you add this up, we get 810.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the first step. So far, so good. And you're going to divide it by 3 now, right?
Yeah. So you'll find how much each person gets.
All right. So isn't that basically just working out the average?
Yeah.
Because we have the total and we have 3 individuals, right? So
Yeah.
we're dividing the total by the number of items that we have, which in this case are people. And how much would that give us?
270.
All right. 270 stickers. Good?
Yeah.
Right. So far, so good. In order
And then-
for the 3 of these girls to have the same number of stickers, right, they must essentially have the average or the mean. All of them must have the same number, right, which is 270. So I'm going to just write on the next page that Maya has 285 and Zara has how many?
350.
Sorry, Renee has 350
Yeah.
and Zara has 175. Good?
Yeah.
All right. Renee and Zara. And now we have to say how many each of the other girls have to give up in order for Zara to have 270 as well. Good? So what are we doing from here now?
So firstly, you will have to subtract 270 from 285, which will be 15, and then subtract 270 from 350, and you will get 80.
We will get 80.
80.
All right, so Maya has to give,
15.
right, Maya has to give 15, right? And of course, you would write a proper statement of that, right? Maya has to give 15 stickers to Zara, and Renee has to give,
80 stickers.
Renee has to
To
give
Zara.
80 stickers to Zara. Good? And let's look at it now. If we were to take away this 15 from 285, how much would Maya be left with?
Can you repeat that again, please?
All right, so we added 15 and 80 here. Good? And we'll end up with 270. So the 15 and the 80 we took away from them, it gives Zara a total of 270. But let's just double check our work. If we took away 15 from 285, what will that leave us with?
270.
Excellent. So we'll end up with 270, right? And if we take 80 away from 350, what will we end up with?
270.
270. So now all 3 girls have the same number of stickers, which is 270. Good? All right. So I hope that one is clear to our viewers. Thank you so much, Devontae.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So this is the situation here for this particular problem. We have 3 girls with 3 different amounts of stickers. All right? And we want to know how many must the 2 with more stickers than the one with the least, which is Zara, who has 175. We want to know how much the 2 that possess more than her has to give her in order for all of them to have the same amount. So basically, we have to find the average here, all right, of the 3 girls. All right, so we add the 285, the 350, and the 175, as Devontae just said, and we'll get 810. Good, we divide that by 3, which is the number of girls that we have here in our problem, and we'll get 270. All right, so now we have to figure out how much each person has to give up in order to get the 270 and also give. What they are giving up, they are giving to Zara. All right, so Maya gives up 15, and that would take her to 270. And Renee gives up 80, which would take her to 270 as well. We add that 15 and that 80 onto Zara's 175 stickers, and we'd notice that all of them now have the same number of stickers. Good? So that is the answer for that question. And now we have the question that really threw a curveball to a lot of students, all right? But it's very simple once we understand the premise of the question, right? So Javen was given a 12 centimeter plant to record its growth over 4 days. Good. The bar graph shows the increase in plant height. The bar graph shows the increase in plant height. It does not show the height of the plant. It shows the increase in the plant height. So we want to know what was the height of the plant on day 4. So good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And who am I speaking with?
My name is Alexi.
Okay, welcome to the program. So what are your thoughts here for day 4? What is the height of the plant on day 4 and why?
The height on day 4 is 8 centimeters.
All right, so is that the final answer for the question, 8 centimeters?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's look at something here. This is the error that most people made, right?
Okay.
What we are seeing here on the bar graph is an increase in the height. So on the 4th day, the plant height increased by 8 centimeters, as you just said, right?
Yeah.
But what was the height of the plant to begin with?
12 centimeters.
Right, so if it increased by 8 centimeters on the 4th day, what is the total height of the plant now?
20 centimeters.
Excellent. 12 plus the change in height, or the increase in height, which is 8,
8.
and that gives us 20
20.
centimeters, and not 8 centimeters, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Excellent work. Thank you so much for your help. Would you help me with the second part of the question? Okay, so I don't know if we lost the caller there. So we're going to take a second caller for the final part of this question. So if the increase in the plant's height is the same daily, draw the bar to show the increase in height on day 6 and state the height of the plant on that day. So the drawing part wasn't in the quiz on Edmodo because we can't actually draw on the graphs as yet. Maybe that feature might be added eventually. But the question on Edmodo was to give the height of the plant on day 6. All right, so let's take a caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Welcome, Nicholas.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
All right, so Nicholas, let's see if you can get the question that most people got wrong here now.
Okay, so day 6, right? There's
Yeah.
a pattern. There's a pattern that's going on. So the pattern that I seen is increasing too, right?
Right.
So they say if the increase of the height plant in same day, the journey in bar graph, say the height was 60 on the 6th day, so it'll be 12 centimeters.
Excellent. On the 12th day, it will be on the 6th day, it will be 12 centimeters, which is the increase in height, right?
Yeah.
But is that the height of the plant on the 6th day?
No, that's the height of how much it increased.
So what would the actual height of the plant be?
24.
Excellent. 12 plus 12, which is
24.
24. Nicholas, thank you so much for your wonderful work, as usual. All right. Okay, guys, so we had some very stellar moments from our callers today who helped us out here with some very tricky stuff. All right. Javan and Aidan and Devontae, everybody that called. All right. And Nicholas, of course, we were able to work it through. So this was the error that everybody pretty much made, except for a handful of students, right, out of the 100 plus submissions. The graph is giving us an increase in plant height and not the actual plant height, right? So we have to add the increase in height to the height that the plant the height that the plant was at when they began tracking the increase day by day, okay? And that, of course, is 20 centimeters for day 4, but when we add 8 to the 12, and since it's increasing by the same amount daily, from day to day, we notice that it's increasing by an increment of 2 centimeters. So we go to day 5, which would take us from 8 to 10. We have to go one more, which would take us from 10 to 12. And we add that 12 to the initial height, which was 12, and we get a height of 24 centimeters. All right, so that's all the time that we have for today. I have one more statistic question to do with you on Monday, and then we'll continue into some consumer arithmetic section 2 type questions. All right, so it's been my pleasure being with you as always. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Don't go anywhere. Ms. Nyla is coming soon with English language arts and some creative writing. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
IBN can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app, download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
Great news! With Trinidad Fresh, you get 70% real fruit juice, and it's available in fruit punch, orange, and apple.
Trinidad Fresh.
Shiklisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Shiklisha Limited, 665-3336.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening guys, and welcome back to C Results. If you're just joining us, we just completed mathematics with Sir Ijaz, and now you're joining me for a bit of creative writing today and ELE. Right, so welcome viewers, those of you joining us on the live on Facebook by the C Results page or the IBN TV 8 page. Don't forget to share that stream with your friends, and of course to our viewers at home, whether it's on channel 8 or channel 108, welcome, and I trust that you are having a good day. So I must mention, right, today would have been the day of the SE exam, right? So by now, a lot of you would have been relieved, completing that math, ELE, and creative writing. But, right, on the bright side, this has given us some extra time to work on some of our challenging areas, right? And I do think, we are using the time wisely. And I trust that you are using your time wisely as well when you are, while you are waiting for us, on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday to join with C Results, right? So what we are going to do today, guys, we are going to look at, well, usually we do creative writing on a Thursday, but since we did not have the program on Monday due to the holiday, right, we are going to look at some of the submissions from students, and then we are going to move on to some ELA if we have some extra time to complete that specimen paper, right? So we're going to start off with some student submission from the Edmodo class. As you know, weekly there are quizzes provided for you and assignments. The assignment this week was to write a report, not a report, sorry, a narrative piece, right? Last week we gave a report, and this week's submission is also a report, right? And we are working on that. But this submission was a narrative piece. And of course, we are following our rubric to help or act as a guide while we are writing. And of course, for me to assess, to look at the content, language use, organization, grammar, mechanics in your writing, right? We would have previously covered, and discussed the rubric in detail, right? So while you are seeing 4 criteria there, a lot of you already know what that 4 criteria entails, right? So it isn't just that it's content, but what in content it deals with, right? So if, you missed those videos earlier on when we looked at the rubric in depth, understanding, what is meant by achievement levels or what is meant by the criteria and how do you achieve 5 marks for each criterion, right? Go back to our earlier videos and please take a good look at it. It will help you understand, parents and students. It will help you understand, what is needed from you. What areas you are lacking in, the areas that you are proficient in, right? And some of the things that you may need to work on, right? So let's go to the first submission. All right, just a second there. All right, and we just have a little bit. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So we're just going to go to a break for a minute, and we'll be right back with those submissions. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back in a minute.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Sun and Main Road, Cunupia.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited 665-3336 or visit us at Warrenville, Cunupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening guys, and welcome back to C Results. So now you're going to join me to read some of the student submissions for last week's work, right? So this was the topic here. You viewed some luscious fruits on a tree in your neighbor's yard. You had to have some. Write a story detailing what you did to get the fruit, whether you were caught, and how things turned out in the end, right? So quite an interesting scenario you were given there, and a lot, you could have done a lot with it, and, a lot of students did prove that, they are quite creative in their writing, right? So let's look at them. I can never forget that one Saturday morning. My parents had to attend an important meeting and had just arrived home from lessons and realized I left my house keys inside. Right? As we are reading, I'm just going to pick up on any errors or give positive criticism as we go along so I don't forget, okay? So in this first paragraph here, we would notice 1 or 2 words maybe are missing. My parents had to attend an important meeting and I had, right? So the person is speaking about themselves here, and I had just arrived home from lessons and realized that I left my keys inside, right? The sun beat my head as I sat outside viewing luscious-looking mangoes on my neighbor's tree. I must have some, I whispered to myself. My neighbor was not currently in the country, but usually his sister, Suzanne, comes to make sure everything is okay at his home. As I jumped the fence, I began to smile and do a victory dance. After a few seconds of victory dancing, I started to climb the tree. As I sat on the tree enjoying a ripe and juicy mango, the wind blew joyous tunes in my ear, making me feel as if I was on paradise. All right, so I'm just going back here, and I want to commend the students here. Proper use of commas, So let me just point out, we have nouns in apposition, right? That's a common error that students frequently make. They leave out commas with nouns in apposition. So good use of commas similarly here, right? And then as we go on to the last line, right, or last couple lines, as I sat on a tree enjoying a ripe and juicy mango, right, could have given us one or two bit more details about that mango, succulent or whatever it is, right, make us a little more enticed by that, but I am already enticed when I say ripe and juicy. We know the type of mangoes that we have in Trinidad and how we enjoy them, right, so I'm sure that you can picture those. The wind blew joyous tunes in my ears, so great use of figurative language. Don't forget to include figurative language throughout your writing, right? It really, really captures the reader's attention when you use it, right? And you use different types of figurative language as well, making me feel as if I was in paradise rather than on paradise, okay? Let's move on. Sweat glued my shirt to my back as I noticed Miss Susan's car parked in front of the gate. As she opened the house door and entered the house, I made my way to the next side of the house. As I turned the corner of the house, I made my way to the next side of the house. As I turned the corner, I came face to face with my neighbor's pit bull, T-Rex. I attempted to quickly jump the fence, but his sharp teeth gripped my feet. It left me no choice but to shout, "Help!" In no time, his sister arrived. All right, so let's just go through this paragraph here. So it's a great picture that he painted here, sweat glued to my shirt, right? So you can imagine that. So imagery once more. But I just want to say that these couple of lines here, where as I turn the corner and then as I turn the corner again, right? Those lines, as she opened the house, right? From there to this last line, as I turned the corner, I came face to face with my neighbor's pit bull. Maybe some reconstruction in that sentence, a couple of sentences, you know, would have helped the reader to understand or get a clearer image about what you were saying. While we do understand, right, and it does not take away from the idea that you are trying to give, right, but just reconstruct the sentences, and it's a little too repetitive, right? So use some other words or adjectives there to tell us, you know, you circled or you move left, you move right, or something like that, right, to help us understand what's happening. And final paragraph, Miss Susan held the dog by its ear as she threw him in the cage. Knowing I was going to get in trouble, I swiftly jumped the fence and ran to the other side of my house. After this day, I learned to never take something which is not mine, right? So this was written by Nikolai. Very well done, Nikolai. Great job, right? As we saw here, he covered everything necessary or what is relevant in your rubric, right? So in content, we're able to see, you know, how the story unfolded. We were not confused, clearly, coherently written, right? Great use of punctuation and so on. Just one or two things that we commented on. Work on that to improve your writing, right? Similarly, you know, you could have added a bit more figurative language or descriptive language, and, you know, probably about the T-Rex or the mango or anything like that to enhance your story, right? But great job, Nikolai. Right, let's go to the second piece. "Hey, Nicole, wait up," I commanded my best friend while walking home after lessons that unforgettable Friday. Hues of red were splashed across the evening sky. While strolling down the concreted path, I could not resist gazing at a luscious mango tree laden with mouth-watering fruit. After seeing me staring at the tree, Nicole suggested, "You know, on a hot day like today, a juicy mango like that will hit the spot." I replied by reminding her, "No way, don't you forget the rumor about Mr. John's paintings killing people," right? So excellent introductory paragraph, really captures the reader's attention, right? I want to pay attention here to how she described the sky, right? She did not say it was late in the evening and the sun was setting, right? She said hues of red were splashed across the evening sky, right? Imagery, beautifully written, right? Mouth-watering fruits or fruits, either is fine, right? Look at the way that she described that mango tree, luscious mango tree, laden, right? So we know that tree, right? Full, right? Ready to be picked, right? Lots of fruits, right? That is really attractive, something that draws your attention. You really want to go over there, try to pick one or two, right? Get your hands on those, right? And then she brings in an interesting twist, No way, don't you forget the rumor about Mr. John's paintings killing people, right? Paintings killing people, right? Again, we're using our imagination, so that's fine. Going on. However, acting against my warning, Nicole crawled through a small opening in Mr. John's fence, entering his property. Unwillingly, I followed along. With every step I took, I glanced at the house to ensure Mr. John was not painting us, since I believed that it could lead to our doom. Nicole then ordered me to ascend the tree, pick the mangoes, and throw the mangoes down to her. Within minutes, our lunch bags were filled to the brim. But what happened next made my heart thump like a million African drums, right? So as she goes into the body here, right, we are seeing how the story is rising, right? We're seeing the actions leading up to the climax of the story, right? I like that she used a simile here, heart thump like a million African drums, right? It's beating really quickly, fast, right? And pay attention to use of transitions, good use of transitions as well, right? Crick, crack reverberated throughout the yard. A branch Nicole was picking from had broken. In an instant, we both looked back at the house. Luckily, no one was there, or so we thought. Moments later, we could hear thuds coming closer and closer. What should we do? I inquired. I know what to do, remarked Nicole. We should run immediately. Nicole dropped her bag of mangoes and dashed off. Unfortunately, while I was making my escape, my legs got trapped between two branches. At that point, all I knew is that I had to act, and act fast, right? So good use here of figurative language or onomatopoeia, right? Pay attention to dialogue in your narrative. Dialogue is extremely important. We know this from when we went through dialogue and we learned how to use dialogue in writing, right? So this is one of the ways here it can be used within the paragraph instead of starting on a new line. Either way is fine, just as we pointed out when we were looking at dialogue, right? Dialogue really adds to the personality of your character, right? It tells us a bit more about them. As well as punctuating your dialogue is also important, right? So pay attention to use of quotation marks, properly used here with commas and so on, right? So that is something else you must pay attention to. So dialogue as well as your punctuation. Oh, how scared I was hearing the tap of Mr. John's cane. Who's out there? Mr. John shouted at the top of his lungs. Cold beads of perspiration trickled down my neck and back. By this time, Nicole was out of sight. Creak! Mr. John pushed open the door. I was paralyzed. A tall, dark man of East Indian descent stared me straight in the eyes. Little girl, what are you doing in my mango tree? He exclaimed in a gruff voice. For a second, my head went blank. When I collected myself, I replied, Sir, my friend and I were terribly hungry while walking home from school, and the mangoes appeared to be so delicious, I whispered in a shy voice. Then where is your friend? He asked. When my friend saw you, she dropped her bag and left, but while I was climbing down the tree, I got stuck, I answered. After he helped me out of the tree, Mr. John gave me the 2 bags of mangoes and told me if I had wanted some mangoes, I should have just asked, and he would have been happy to share some of his mangoes because they were ripening faster than he could eat. However, he announced that if he heard anywhere that I was stealing, he would not give me any mangoes. Right? It's written by Caitlin Bernard. Right? So excellent submission, Caitlin. Right? Minor errors. Right? Just a reconstruction or grammatical here, and told me if I had wanted. Right? So if, just revise your sentence construction, look carefully at any grammatical errors that you may be making. When you are rereading, this will help with that. Right? That's why we save 5 minutes at the end of our time when we are writing, whether it's narrative or expository, and we check over and read over for errors, right? Something simple as that may slip us, right? And if you look at his story, it's a great story itself, right? Well-organized ideas also, organized, sequenced properly, logical, all of that, right? And the conclusion wraps up the entire story really nicely, right? So very well put together, Caitlin Bernard, right? The forbidden fruit. So this person, this is another submission, so the third submission here, gave their story a title, which is fine. You are free to do so, right? The forbidden fruit. Last Saturday was the day I disobeyed my mother. Mischievous thoughts encircled my mind as I came up with a master plan. I decided to include my friend Rihanna in the plan. Without a moment to spare, my partner was on her way. Not long after, Rihanna arrived with a sack in her hand. I told her that my mother was at work. I then asked her if she wanted to go to Mr. John's backyard and help herself to her luscious mangoes, right? This question mark here, right? If you are looking at, or let's just read over this. I then asked her if she wanted to go to Mr. John's backyard, right? So that's not really a question, right? So ensure that you use your punctuation marks appropriately there, right? So it's a simple introductory paragraph. What you could have done here to improve this a little bit, right? Describe the setting, give us a little bit about the setting, what's happening, or describe that day, or anything like that, right? But mischievous thoughts encircle my mind, that's a great phrase to use as well, right? So that's a nice hook, but you could improve, of course, with a bit of figurative language, right? Or even descriptive language, right? Let's go on to the next paragraph. My mouth watered with each step taken. As we quickened our pace, we scaled a tall, dirty wall. Starch was our favorite type of mango, so we gave our wrongdoing a second thought. Mr. John's tree was laden as branches bowed under the weight of each plump mango. I climbed the tree with great agility while Rihanna was a designated lookout and collector. One by one, the juicy mangoes were piled into the bag. That's enough, chimed Rihanna. Run, I nervously exclaimed. Mr. John had returned. Rihanna took off like a speeding bullet. Oh no, I dropped the sack, lamented my accomplice. Right, so I do want to commend this writer on the use of vocabulary here, right? Really well done. And I'm going to give you some further comments on this piece, but it is time for the Maghreb Salah, so we do have to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to continue these pieces. Stay tuned with us, guys. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum, good evening guys, and welcome back to C Results. So just before the break, we were looking at a submission by one of our students, and we just read this paragraph and we were commenting on it, right? So another comment here that I'd like to add, and if you look at this sentence here, Mr. John's tree was laden as branches bowed under the weight of each plump mango, right? So it's a beautifully written line that tells us about the fullness of that mango, right? Ready to be eaten, but the person did not say full. Look at how that line is written, right? Other than saying full, this is what I want students to develop, right? And what we have been trying to do, and I am sure that, your teachers, have been urging you to follow the style of writing, right? You can use imagery, you can use figurative language, you can use descriptive language to help achieve any sort of description that you would like without giving us information directly, right? Just as I was saying there, right? You don't have to say the mango was full and ready to be eaten, right? The way that this line is written already suggests that for us, right? So I pay attention to that, and if you aren't one of those students, who practice writing like this as yet, please, I urge you, I encourage you, get on board with us and try to use this sort of language to help develop your writing, right? Let's continue with this story. I told her to leave the heavy sack as we darted to my house. We felt disappointed but slightly hopeful that my neighbor, Mr. John, did not notice the sack on the ground. Suddenly, we heard a knock on the front door, and we slightly hoped that it was not Mr. John, my neighbor. My tears were confirmed when my mother summoned me to the front door. Mr. John asked us if we tried to steal his mangoes. Yes, we stole the starch mangoes, we simultaneously muttered. Right, so this here, right, that was superb writing, excellent use, right? So overall, another well-written paragraph. I do want to go back 1 second though, to this line here, right, that I did forget to mention. So I'm going to read, starch was our favorite type of mango, so we gave our wrongdoing a second thought, right? So we gave our wrongdoing no second thought because they went ahead with the idea, right? So again, just make sure when you read over, sometimes we're in a rush, sometimes we have the ideas running in our mind that we don't pick up on 1 or 2 errors, right? But just be mindful of that. My mother then came home. She was baffled upon hearing our confession. Sincere apologies were exchanged, and Mr. John left. Mommy's stern look and piercing eyes stabbed me in the chest. I knew my punishment was inevitable. Rihanna, too, was not going to be spared. Her mother was contacted immediately. That day, my friend and I learned a valuable lesson. Thou shalt not steal continued to ring in our ears. Since that adventurous day, we promised not to steal ever again. Right? So look at the conclusion here. Right? And when we were looking at ways to conclude your writing, we looked at approximately 8 ways that you can follow to conclude writing. Right? And this was one. Thou shalt not steal. Right? So in certain proverbs in your writing. Right? So you can follow that style as well if you like. Right? That was actually written by Jewel Castello. Right? So Jewel did ask, she did request that we show, right, her submission. And yeah, we did, Jewel, so I hope you are proud. You also made us proud with the submission, right? And I was looking at some of the comments on our live, and, people are saying, they're enjoying the essays, right? It just goes to show that we have so many talented students, right, with really creative minds. And we do want to urge and encourage all of you, if you're not already a part of the Edmodo class, get on board, right? These creative writing exercises have been proven to be very useful, right? Students have been improving in their writing. And, I do want to encourage you, if you are struggling, or if you are very proficient at writing narrative or expository, show off your talent with us, right? And you will, probably be afforded the opportunity for us to showcase your work right here, right? Just like Jewel. All right, let's go on to this other submission. Today, I really wanted a ripe, juicy mango, but I'll have to walk for miles upon miles to buy one at Mrs. Cindiana's shop. It was an extremely dark and gloomy. It was and it was raining cats and dogs outside, right? So I believe that the word "day" is missing there. The heavy raindrops beat against my galvanized gable roof like a man playing musical notes on a pan as if it went padang, 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 right? So the sound of raindrops, so onomatopoeia here, right? Good use of figurative language. Suddenly a bright idea flashed in my head. Maybe I could steal some mangoes from my pot-belly neighbor, Mr. Grumpy, when the rain stops falling. Right, so a comma should be inserted here, nouns in apposition, and this is what one of the errors I was talking about when I just started, right? So be mindful of that. He has a massive tree laden with ripe, juicy, Julie mangoes, and its reddish skin taunts me every time I look at them through the living room window. Dribble ran down my hazelnut chocolate face as I imagined sinking my marshmallow white teeth into its juicy buttercup yellow smooth flesh. Right, so overall, nice, simple introductory paragraph, right, that gets straight to the point and gives us a nice description about what is taking place, right, and as well as a description about that mango that this person can't wait to get their hands on. This afternoon was the perfect time as my neighbor, Mr. Grumpy, was not at home. I called my friend Clyde over as soon as I was finished daydreaming and hatching my plan, right. I just want to point out, you would notice here that the person did use commas appropriately and correctly here as opposed to the last paragraph. So this just goes to show us that reading over, as I pointed out twice already, right, helps you detect those simple errors. Clyde brought his sister's Hello Kitty watermelon bag. Seeing this, I bursted out in laughter, grinning from ear to ear. Dude, are you wearing your sister's bag? I questioned him. Long story, he retorted, panting as he had just run over to my house. Right, so a bit of humor inserted in your writing. That's a nice trick, right? Really boosts and captures the reader's attention, right? And just pay attention here to this line. Notice that dialogue was started on a new line in this instance, right? But here it was not started on a new line. It's fine. You don't have to always, start on a new line. It's okay if you do it like this as well. It's not a problem, right? He advised me to get my school bag as well as to put the succulent fruit in. Clyde was tall and lanky, so he was the perfect ladder to get a boost over the skyscraping wall, which he climbed over with ease. Clyde was the catcher while I was the dropper. I'll climb the tree and drop the mangoes for Clyde, while he catches them and places an equal number of mangoes in each bag. Right, so this first line here, he advised me to get my school bag as well as to put the succulent fruit in, right? So as well there is not needed, right? The bag was to put the fruit in, right? So let's revise that sentence. We bolted to the center of the yard where the tree stood lonely on its well-manicured lawn, swaying in the wind. I carefully climbed it as it was wet, and I sat my chubby self on a mossy branch, perfect for my weight, where all the best mangoes were. Terrific, terrific line. Right? I really enjoyed reading that. Nice, lovely description here. I was like a baboon in the tree while Clyde stood under the branch collecting the package from the mailbox tree. I triumphantly packed the best mangoes that had no bird bites on them. The Julie mango's sweet aroma greeted my short, stubby nose, which made me really want to sink my teeth into the fleshy fruit. Right? So look at the use of sensory detail. Right, that really plays an important role in this essay as well as in all writing, right? That's why we're urging you, encouraging you to go ahead and do so, right? I really enjoyed this line where he said, let me just get it. Right, I triumphantly picked the best mangoes that had no bird bites on them. Because as we know, of any fruit tree, well laden, right, you will see fruits that are damaged or have some pecks on them from birds and so on, right? So I thought that was really nice to include that factual piece of information there. Right, now, of course, it doesn't happen all the time, but still. Just then, roof, echoed through the yard. It was Mr. Grumpy's short, charcoal, chubby pit bull domain. Clyde got petrified and immediately blacked out. The pit bull rushed towards Clyde, and I was not about to let Domain attack my best friend. As I tried to come off the tree, something happened, right? So also another point here, he gave a short description about the pit bull, right? That was really useful to insert that description there, right? It's not taken away from the point, but it's given us a piece of additional information about something or a character now introduced in the story, right? So another positive critique there. As well as, of course, we have onomatopoeia throughout the writing. Boop, I fell off the tree like a breadfruit, right? So this person is hilarious, right? Really funny writer. Though the pain was killing me, I was still conscious and I had to protect my friend from the pungent-smelling dog. Like a young giraffe now learning to walk, I shakily stepped forward. As the dog reached closer, I kicked it, which made it angrier. It jumped and sank its razor-sharp teeth into my bloodshot red jersey, tearing it and exposing my chest. Just when I thought things couldn't possibly get worse, guess what happened? Mr. Grumpy drove his amber-colored car into the yard and was coming towards the tree. Where you domain? He questioned. Right, so look at this paragraph here, right? It goes down, right? Now we are to the end of the story. After the climax of the story, you're seeing here how the person or the steps taken, how the story went from that climax and is going down to the conclusion, right? So very good use of language and writing here. Now was my time to escape, so I pushed the dog off me using a nearby rake and gathered the bags of mangoes. Just then, Clyde awoke and noticed I was on the verge to escape. He joined me immediately, and we made a soundless escape. I'm sorry I blacked out and left you alone to fight that evil critter, Clyde stated. Don't worry, Clyde. You still helped me collect the package, I retorted remorsefully. We sat on my wooden steps that croaked every time we moved and ate the luscious sweet fruits. A fountain of yellow juice ran down our smooth, tender hands. We made jokes about that day, and before we knew it, let me just read that again. We made jokes about the day, and before we knew it, not a single mango was left. Right, written by Dakarai Forgini, and I hope I do pronounce that correctly. Right, so Dakarai, what can I say? Terrific, excellent, outstanding work. Very well written, right? There's enough of everything in this this piece of writing, right? So humor, figurative, your sensory details, right? Good use of grammar, mechanics, and everything to go with it. So we also noticed that Dakarai last week performed exceptionally well, right? So this is the second week in a row that he is featured, or his work is featured on the show. So excellent, Dakarai, and keep up the great work, right? Let's go on to another submission. Now, the reason I'm doing a couple more submissions than I usually do, usually we share submissions on the second half of the show with Sir Jazz, but we don't usually get enough time, to feature as many submissions, as we can. So, there are a lot of great writers, as you are clearly seeing here, right? Talented students, and we would really like to share more of their work. So here's an opportunity for us to do that, and we are trying to grab it. Okay, so bear with us. And I am sure that some of you are enjoying this as well, right? You can learn from it, as well as you can get humor out of it, right? Just as with Dakarai's last piece, right? Mr. Frank, our neighbor, has one of the most delicious mangoes in our community. The bright golden fruits laid on the tree like polka dots on a green fabric. So a bit of a spelling error there, but pay attention to the simile used here. Nice use. People always indicate how sweet and luscious the fruits are if by chance they are lucky enough to put their hands on a fruit or two without Mr. Frank's knowledge. Why is this, you may ask? Right, so a comma is missing here. It is quite simple. Mr. Frank is stingy. He prefers for all the fruits to rot on the ground instead of sharing his mangoes, right? And we might know one or two persons like that, unfortunately, right? Instead of getting to eat those succulent mangoes. But nevertheless, my cousins, Mark and Daniel, visited us for the Easter vacation. While we were playing a game of hide and go seek outside, Daniel spotted a tree. He gazed in amazement with his mouth opened like that of a snapping turtle, right? Another use of simile here. He wanted some of those gorgeous, juicy mangoes. The more I said we can't get any because Mr. Frank won't allow it, the more his thirst for those mangoes developed. He stared over into the yard, gazing at those mangoes. Or so we thought. Little did we know that Daniel was observing Mr. Frank's movements. Right? So we are leading up here to the climax. It was Friday, the last day of my cousin's stay, and Daniel put his plan into effect. As soon as Mr. Frank left his yard, Daniel went into action. Bags that we have never seen before came out of nowhere, and Daniel was bellowing instructions to us. At first, we were numb, but somehow his back made us react and follow. In the flash of a light, Daniel was over the wall and up the tree, and we were like dogs chasing a cat. Right? So another use of simile here, following every movement he made. We were picking mangoes and filling bags. My heart was beating like a marching drum. He moved as if the devil was behind us. Right? So quickly, I am assuming here, as fast as we scaled the wall to Mr. Frank's yard, we scaled the wall to our yard with our prized possessions. We were bubbling with glee and excitement. We had no idea what we will do with all these mangoes, right? So we had no idea what we will do, right? What you would have done with all those mangoes, right? So let's look at that sentence. Nevertheless, we each took a mango, and with watering mouths, we took a huge bite, and we were savoring the sweet juice of our forbidden fruit until we turned around. Our hearts dropped to the soles of our feet, and our joy turned upside down. There, standing in front of us with belts in their hands, were our parents. Right? So look at how Rhea McNichols ended this story. Right? It left us in a bit, wondering, curious what's going to happen. Right? So that's another trick, excellent way to end your story. Right? You leave your readers in suspense. Right? But it's not so much so that it takes away from the story or it starts a new idea. Right? We already know where this is going to lead. Right? So it's self-explanatory. So great job, Rhea. Right? We also enjoyed this writing and the use of similes throughout the writing as well. Right? And I do believe we have one other piece. Right? Just give me 1 second there. Great. And you will enjoy this piece. That day, the golden button shone gloriously in his blue and white jacket. Right? So I'm going to stop there. Right? And I want you to take a deep breath and read that line over. Right? Immediately as I read that line, I was, totally captivated. Right? I wanted to continue reading. And that's the effect that you want to have on your reader. Right? So, that day the golden button shone gloriously. Right? It's a metaphor. Right? We know what he's talking about. But look at the way it is explained. Look at the use of the phrase. Right? Very well written. It was a beautiful Monday morning, and I didn't have to go to school. All schools were closed in Trinidad and Tobago for a 1-month period because of the global pandemic. The COVID-19 virus was here in our country, right? Capitalized COVID, and, well, not the entire word, capital C. And all citizens were encouraged to remain at home. Son, don't forget to feed the dog when you're finished with your breakfast, my mom reminded. I nodded while chewing the last bite of my sandwich. Tuffy, our family pet, skipped eagerly when he saw me coming with his food bowl. While he ate, I sat in the porch for a bit and enjoyed the cool morning breeze. Right? So that entire paragraph there has a lot of imagery, and you can actually picture what is taking place as the paragraph unfolds. I closed my eyes and listened to the rustling of the leaves as the wind ran through the branches. Quarantine bandit. I opened my eyes and looked around nervously. Joel and Jace, 2 brothers, were passing by my home as they walked down the street. I sighed loudly because I felt guilty and ashamed. This must have been how Adam and Eve felt when they ate the forbidden fruit. Quarantine bandits, they both snickered. I got up and went inside. Right? So, paying attention to the first paragraph here, right? I just want to draw your focus to how this child, used today's events or what's happening today, to bring his story to life, right? To really hook the reader, right? Using the facts here, it's a great way, it's a great strategy, right? Another technique that you could use in your writing, just as we showed you, to bring your story to life, right? Factual information being, of course, the global pandemic taking place right now, the COVID-19 virus, right? And then he went ahead to say quarantine bandits, right? Using, the quarantine aspect of it all to help in his writing, right? So really good job there. I do believe this is Christopher, right? Miss Nyla, our next door neighbor, had a big yard filled with various types of fruits. All the children in our street looked forward to her generosity as she freely shared whatever fruit was in season. Miss Nyla knew Portugal was my favorite fruit and made sure I had my fill. I was upset when I found out that Miss Nyla was staying at her daughter's home throughout the entire 1-month school break. She forgot me, Mom. The tree is overladen and she forgot me. I cried one evening. Stop being a sour lemon, my mother scolded. I bought you some from the Veggie Mart. Miss Nyla will organize you when she returns, right? So I do believe the word when here is missing. When she returns. My parents always taught me to be humble and content with what I had. However, my childish behavior was fueled whenever I saw birds feeding on those luscious fruits or other children climbing over the Miss Nyla's fence, right? So you should just be over Miss Nyla's fence to help themselves. I thought to myself, at this rate, when Miss Nyla returned home, there would be nothing for her to share. One day, I was playing with Tuffy in the yard, and I saw Joel and Jace climbing up Miss Nyla's Portugal tree, right? Portugal here doesn't need to be capital, right? Or the capital P, rather. I ran towards the wire fence in my yard and shouted, "Stop that!" The boys looked at me and snickered. They picked enough fruits to fill a plastic grocery bag, even though Miss Nyla shared whatever was in season with them. They were notorious for stealing fruits whenever she wasn't at home, right? "You boys are shameless," I grumbled. "She'll know it was you guys." They ran towards me grinning brightly. My mouth watered at the sight of the brightly colored Portugals in their bag and the high citrus scent of the freshly peeled fruits in their hands. "Stop what? Miss Nyla wouldn't even care if we picked the entire tree," Joel defended as he stuffed a few juicy pegs into his mouth, right? And I must admit here, you know, by the time I reached to this paragraph, I was starting to wonder, right? While it was a great story, it's taken a bit, you know, longer to get to, you know, you go into that tree. Remember the topic being, right, what you have to focus on your topic, right? So I was starting to think, while he's not entirely straying, I was thinking that, you know, it's taking a bit long to get to that point of it, right? But let's continue reading. "You're just jealous. We have, and you don't provoke Jace." They turned and made their way home. "They're right," I thought to myself. Miss Nyla wouldn't bat an eye at an empty tree, right? I stuffed a used grocery bag in my pocket and grabbed the stepladder from the storeroom. "I can do this," I encouraged myself. "I've seen those rascals done it 1,000,000 times before." I looked up and down the street to make sure no one would see me. I threw the stepladder in Miss Nyla's yard and climbed over the fence. Since Joel and Jace picked all the fruits off the lower branches, I needed to get higher safely and avoid falling or breaking any of the tree branches. The sight of the Portugals made me smile ear to ear. They were perfectly shaped, brightly colored, glossy, and plump. I gingerly picked them and cautiously placed each one in my bag. The sweet citrus scent was overwhelming. My mouth began to water once more. I have been eagerly anticipating these fruits since the tree flowered in December. Hey, only look a quarantine bandit. I became startled and lost my balance. To my horror, the bag slipped from my hand and fell to the ground. It all happened so fast, right? Should have been a full stop there. Joel and his brother climbed over the fence, grabbed my bag, and they both sped off again. I had no time to stop them or respond. I quickly became fearful that someone would come out to investigate the commotion. I climbed, so instead of I climbed down should be, I climbed down the step ladder and quickly made my way home. In conclusion, the two brothers, so before I get to the last paragraph, before I continue reading there, I just want to say, going back to the previous paragraph, so far, so good, right, Christopher? Really well written, nice use of figurative and descriptive language, right? Imagery throughout your writing, right? You had your reader hooked the entire time, right? So that's an excellent job, and that's really what you want to achieve when you are writing. All right, let's go to the strategy used here in the conclusion of Christopher's story. In conclusion, the two brothers stole all of Miss Nyla's Portugals. They were very mischievous boys who stole from people very often. However, I never accepted I would have ever do such a thing. the two brothers successfully proved me into stealing and becoming a quarantine bandit, right? So this word proved, right? It should be provoked rather than proved. Okay, I probably should have ate the Portugals Mom bought, but they aren't as luscious as Miss Nyla's. No one ever came to check the commotion, and when Miss Nyla returned, all her luscious fruits had all regrown. Miss Nyla never found out that I am a quarantine bandit to her Portugals, right? So let's look at this conclusion here. Right? When you are writing your story and you reach to the end of it and you're trying to wrap up, you're going to conclude, right? Let's refrain from using in conclusion, right? This is a story. Remember, you looked at the transitions you used throughout your writing, which was exceptional, or which were exceptional. Now use, something, another transition here that will really tie your story all together, right? In conclusion here, it sounds like you're summarizing what has taken place. Right? Remember, the idea is not to summarize the entire story after you have written the story, right? So instead of, what you had written here, giving us a summary of the mischievous boys and the fruits and you stealing the mango, right? You could have said that, you went home feeling disappointed in your actions and you made a vow to yourself to never do that again, or something like that, reflecting on what you had done, right? Rather than giving a summary of the entire story. Right, so that was the only criticism here with Christopher's piece, right? Just the conclusion, just work on your conclusion a bit. One or two things you could have done to improve it, as well as with all our work, right? While some of you did get 20, now I don't want you to take that and think, you got maximum marks and there's nothing that you need to do. In fact, guys, that is not correct, right? We may overlook one or two errors in giving you that 20, so you need to be extremely careful, right? And with your writing, pay attention. You still need to revise, you still need to edit and make those final changes to perfect your essay. Keep writing, keep practicing, and that's how we are all going to become proficient writers, right? There's always room for improvement, especially with creative writing, right? So I don't want you to think that, you have succeeded and you have reached to where you need to be, right? Yes, you may be at that point in the achievement levels, your writer proficient, but trust me guys, we can all improve, right? I just want to remind you all, for our new viewers joining us today, and of course for our existing viewers, if you haven't already signed up with us on the Edmodo class, please just follow these 3 simple steps, whether you're a parent or a student, to help get you started. The class code is to the bottom of the screen there, right? And you will have access to all the quizzes every week, mathematics, ELA, and creative writing. So please, I urge you, become part of this community of learners. We have a couple weeks again until SEA, which was supposed to be today originally, right? But thankfully, we have some extra time. So let's look at it that way. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be ready to approach our SEA exam, right? So this is one way or another way to help you get ready for that exam. And I also just want to remind you guys, a couple weeks ago, and we have been saying for a while now that the Sanwell Muslim Ladies Organization is having an essay writing competition, right? We did highlight the prizes and the topic and everything so far, right? I just want to remind you all, some of you are asking whether they will be continuing with the essay. Yes, they will be continuing with those essays and given the prize, but it will not be on the same date as promised, which was supposed to be April 10th, I believe. Right, due to the pandemic that is happening right now, they have just pushed it back a little bit. They have to wait for school to reopen because, as you know, students, we are waiting submissions from students from various schools. So when we get those, then we'll be able to put them all together and mark and, of course, award prizes accordingly, right? So don't forget, you still have that opportunity to write that essay, submit it, and don't forget, we have some great prizes for that as well. Right, guys, so it's Thursday. That means that we are at the end of the week for C results. But don't be alarmed. On Monday, we'll be back, right, with mathematics and ELA. We are continuing with practice papers for ELA, so you don't want to miss that. And, of course, I just want to remind you all, we have reruns every day of the week. So Monday to Thursday, 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. And Friday to Sunday, we have Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday's rerun, right, from 5 to 7 p.m. Right, so you can catch reruns all week long, so you don't have to be worried about that. And of course, Like I said, if you missed any video, right, people are messaging, asking us, about, which video can I view to help me with narrative or expository style writing, right? Just remember, we have a YouTube channel which you can subscribe to, right? And the videos are there for you. All the videos are labeled, so it's very easy for you to find. So, for example, if you're looking for the start of narrative writing, the video is entitled Narrative Writing Startup, or the start of narrative writing, or anything like that, right? So it's really easy to find and really easy to use. Don't forget to share the live stream with your friends, your neighbors, and your family. And stay tuned with us next week as you rejoin us for C Results Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Okay, guys, have a safe weekend. Stay indoors, practice personal hygiene. Let's all be safe, right? And I will see you on Monday, God's willing. Do have a pleasant weekend. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys.